Mm. I'm Martin Dorfring of Cataclysmic Science. I'm a professional geologist, an amateur historian, and on a true quest of solving the mysteries to our past. I enjoy indulging in the idea of Atlantis being a lost ancient civilization. So, if I'm going to buy into that, I have to solve two pieces of the puzzle. First, I have to establish a geological chronology, and second, I have to establish an actual human timeline. To solve the geological chronology, I used the foundations of the hydroplate theory from Walt Brown to establish a cataclysmic sequence of events, one fitting to destroy Atlantis. The location of Atlantis I borrowed from an interesting video from the Bright Insight YouTube channel by Jimmy Corsetti, which proposes the location of the Rikat structure in the western part of the Sahara Desert. Moving on to establish a recorded timeline, I didn't have to go far by paging through our human history recorded in the first few pages of Genesis. The geological chronology I spoke about in a previous video, so in this video I will only tackle the human timeline and maybe, just maybe, connect no less than 3 different advanced ancient civilizations to the same time and space. Just a quick jump back to show you where I started from. I will start by reminding you all of the location that the Bright Insight videos recommended. I suggest you go check that out. And then I will bear in mind the high magnitude energy event suggested by the hydroplate theory of cataclysmic events. And me constructing an after effect of low magnitude energy events leading to the destruction of Atlantis. As with any good problem, we will start by balancing the numbers. So basic skills in math will give us a theoretical number of ancient populations. So let's do a calculation here. Just as an example, let's take 3 families, call them generation 1, and let's say in 35 years time they have, let's say, 6 or 8 or 10 kids. I'm going to take 10 kids. So in 35 years, if they have 10 kids, each family, they will have 30 kids. In the second generation, half of them half boys, half girls, 35 years later after that, that would be 150 kids. Generation 3, 750 kids. Generation 4, 3,750 kids. By generation 5, it really starts climbing very fast to 18,750. And generation 6, 93,750, and that's just on 10 kids. In the olden days, people used to have a lot of kids. And remember, before trolling this video, please do the population number calculation yourself. We should all at least agree on one thing. Now, after doing some reading, I came up with 3 distinct eras of advanced ancient civilizations. The first era is the pre-cataclysmic civilization era. It's spooky term of Nephilim era, which nobody really seems to grasp fully. Who knows, right? Then the post-cataclysmic era of 8 survivors populating to become the world's first and largest construction company, or monopoly actually. Fortunately, they inherit the skills and tools of the previous civilization that was safely stored upon a boat, and constructed a mega city and tower of brick and slime. The population, who knows? The numbers tell us anything between 5,000 to 100,000 plus, and 100 to 280 years after our geological chronology of a cataclysmic event. Oh, and people still alive from the previous cataclysmic or Nephilim era. And then our third civilization era, the scattering era. Unfortunately, darkness sets in, a division and chaos ensues. They are split into 50 to 70 new smaller civilizations that scatter all abroad, dividing further as they go. But some draw the short straws and some draw the long straws to gain the winnings. Only so much equipment to share among them. At least all were in the same construction company of building that mega city and tower. Now, carrying on their mutual skills of architecture, yeah, brick making, myth, and art, but no more common language binds them. Was that a blessing or a curse? Few know the answer. Time to borrow some pictures again from someone. Yes, borrowed from Bright Insight channel. Thanks, Jimmy. Time for some chronology and genealogy. Thanks for the timeline borrowed from Dr. Willem van Heerden from South Africa. This is part of the timeline established from Genesis, Chronicles, and a few others. The interesting thing to note is the different lifespans of the generations. This will be based on difference on initial environmental conditions and still good pre-cataclysmic inherited genetics. This can be significantly explained by other videos that might or might not be linked somewhere afterwards. There is a rapid drop-off after a few generations, but something really worth noting is the fact that in our point in time, during Civilization Era 3, we can still actually have people alive from all three civilization eras. But not enough of those old greybeards to join in all 70 plus new nations. We will reach a total scattered civilization now very quickly, easily in the millions in a short time. But the scattering journey will probably kill many of them on their journey to distant continents as the water rises behind them. I can only speculate at the population at the time of Atlantis, which could fall between generation 4 to 10 and which would roughly occur around 2000 to 2200 before Christ. Our many secondary cataclysmic events might catch up to many newly founded young nations in the years to come. This caused by a small buckle in the crust or mantle, a small displacement or offset, maybe just ice dripping into a volcano, setting off a chain reaction. Still due to our cataclysmic hydroplate event, blessing or cursing, the world is filled with an abundance of water and snow. We might even have a green Sahara, which technically then not a desert. Yeah. Which made me think of two funny stories. The one being Atlantis, being surrounded by water, maybe a very large inland lake. Well, on the scientific side, we see signs of large volumes of water movement flowing past the Rikat structure. Who knows? Then, the story is so completely ridiculous. Even Herodotus laughed it off. He asked the man, "Why does the river Nile flood so periodically?" Just to hear the claim of madness. The river Nile, the ancients said, flood due to the melting snow from between the mountains down south from the warm equator. Herodotus in his days could find no ice for his slush puppy. On a very serious note, we have three different advanced ancient civilizations recorded. The first era, only 8 survivors. A world of extremely, possibly the highest levels of IQ and intelligence, which were divinely created that way. And then some of them surviving and populating the post-cataclysmic civilization era. I can just imagine the nighttime stories around the campfire of days gone by and the night sky with a slight twist in its spin. Something for the future era, definitely to keep an eye on. And then them all living into the next civilization era, a time where lifespan shortens by the generations, where the previous eras might be described as demigods, or again, who knows what the previous era told under the stars before bedtime. I'm curious, will we ever know what the word Nephilim meant? So, a division at the Tower of Babel, and the world slowly lost its connection to some, but not for many years to come, as the lifespan is still long and a few new cities are born, one among them, Atlantis, to prosper for a while, but oh, the geology and the geography. For a later aftershock of the once big flood is to hit a small city. Kind of make me think of the 2004 day after Christmas, the Boxing Day tsunami, which was such a great tragedy.